Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for, this is going to be for the next 3 months, October, November, December in 2025. You have this cow spirit, there you go. It says miracles are endless, and this brown bear spirit that says take time out. So I was going to say you are a cow, but that just comes off as wrong. So we will just say that that is you, Taurus, showing up here. And you definitely could be, focusing on creating more miracles in your life. I feel like something is growing for you, especially if you're like working on anything new or, creating anything at this time. It is a very creative time for Taurus. Like, I'm a big fan of you creating something, especially having to do with your freedom, especially in November. It's going to be a great time because Uranus goes back into your sign, as I've been saying, and I do think this is a big deal for Taurus because it's going to let you do something that sets you free, or that should be your focus, right? Nothing has to happen. If you don't do anything, then nothing's going to happen. But if you do something with your life, then definitely you could be setting yourself free from something that's been keeping you trapped, or you could be removing yourself from all sorts of limiting situations. And look at all the cards. We have a lot of cards that really would represent freedom. Two of Wands, Knight of Swords, Chariot, Knight of Wands here. So again, we're off to a good start. In your first row, we're going to look at 3 main themes that you are going to be dealing with over the next 3 months. And so each card is going to represent a theme. You have 2 here, the Knight of Wands and the Four of Cups. A lot of people have been getting messages like this about trying something again in a bigger way. And, the Four of Cups, he's tried something like 3 times before, and now he's getting another opportunity to try again, but he's not accepting it because he's afraid that, things will go south just like it did the first 3 times. So sometimes I feel with the Four of Cups that we need to kind of like realize that we've learned the lessons that we needed to learn to make something successful again. And the Ace of Wands is, again, the creation. We see a lot of creativity here. Page of Wands, King of Wands, Two of Wands, Knight of Wands. You have a lot of this creation, getting started type of energy coming up here. And Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. So, but I think what this is saying is you need to throw out your old story. I mean, all 2025, your readings, Taurus, have been about kind of getting rid of the old story and starting new. It's almost like a brand new Taurus is popping out into the world here, or at least maybe that's the opportunity that you have. And I feel that's a major theme that you will be focused on at the end of the year here. Next, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like you're just ready for the next thing. I kind of feel like it is, these 3 cards, the first 3 cards here are one theme. And I'm talking about the Ace of Wands, Four of Cups in this one. The Seven of Pentacles is a card that says, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's wondering if it's worth it to keep growing what he's been growing, or is there something different or better that he could work on in his life? And, only you can answer that question, Taurus. But, I feel a lot of you have been looking at opportunities to make changes, or you've been looking for, something new and exciting. And, that's basically what he's doing. He's looking at his past situation here on the card, and he's like, I've gotten everything I can out of these 7 Pentacles, so now it's time to do something new. A second theme, it seems to me like there are 2 main themes that you could be dealing with, and you have the Page of Cups. So love, definitely possible. We go to the Two of Cups here, and Two of Cups can be a perfect match. So for those of you that are looking for a connection, this could be a person, an admirer, a person you admire, a person that admires you, or hopefully both ways, right? And yeah, I think this would be good for you. Earth and fire really stand out to me. You have a little bit of water here as well, so it could be any sign that's coming in for you with the Page of Cups. I also feel that this is about like accepting something. It's kind of a weird word to get with the Page of Cups, because he can represent a lot of things, but he has this fish in the cup, which I always say is like his dream. And he needs to bring that dream down to earth. But it's almost like the reading is saying you need to like receive a dream. It's kind of popping into my head that maybe you need to be more open, or kind of push past the resistance of having a dream in your life, which I do feel sometimes we resist things. We can have money blocks, we can have love blocks, things like that, where it's like we can say we want something, but we can also be trying to protect ourselves. And that's kind of what I feel intuitively on this card. And again, yes, I understand that's not what this card means, but I read intuitively, and that's what I'm getting. So I don't want to say stop protecting yourself, and that's not what I'm saying, but definitely I think would be a good time to like work on blockages or removing blocks, things that have been holding you back. With the Ace of Wands in the Four Cups, you have two aces here, which is amazing. So really good. Definitely a new opportunity coming in for you. Ace of Pentacles is a new opportunity that has a lot of potential. And so I feel a lot of you are going to be working on something new. And we do see really good money cards here. At the end of the year here, I will say that the readings have been very positive financially. And I'm like, I don't want to say I'm nervous, but I am definitely I am thoughtful about finances, let's put it that way, especially with Neptune officially entering into Aries next year. In January of next year, Neptune moves back into Aries from Pisces. But Pisces rules anything that flows, and that's how we talk about money. We say that it flows, we call it currency, right? And so there are definitely going to be changes in finances, probably starting at the beginning of next year. But I don't know, looks pretty good, so I'm not complaining. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Nine of Swords. Yeah, there's something about this eclipse. Like, this is very obvious energy. We have an eclipse on the day this video is published, on the 21st of September. So even though it's before the next 3 months, again, eclipses last for like 6 months. So we'll be dealing with that energy for a while. But, it seems to me like this eclipse, for the collective or whatever you want to call it, is pointing out blockages, like I already said, like things that are holding you back, or the part of your story that is, preventing you from getting something that you want. I think it's a good thing. Personally, I consider the Nine of Swords to be the worst card in the tarot, but I do think it's good, because the reason I feel this way is because I feel like people are seeing it. It's like you're seeing the thing that is stopping you, or you're seeing the issue that has always held you back. And again, I think this is good, because then we can fix it, right? Then we can get out of the bed. Really, I don't look at tarot as good or bad, and the Nine of Swords it does have a very easy solution. He just needs to get out of bed. He's stuck in a nightmare, and all he has to do is walk away from his bed and get moving, right? So I feel like you are discovering solutions. With the Page of Cups, you have the Queen of Swords. A lot of you could be getting very clear on your love story as well. So for those of you that are interested in a connection, I feel that you could be getting clear on like what you want, or what you need to do to improve it in some ways. I also feel like you are seeing right here, sorry, messing up the cards, but going this way with that Four of Pentacles, I feel like you're seeing where you're holding yourself back. The Four of Pentacles can be a little bit of a stuck energy as well. And again, this is good because, definitely for the next few months at least, you're definitely going to be focusing on creating more freedom or doing something that sets you free. Next, we're going to look at what you don't see coming over the next few months. You have this knowledge card. It says mentor, teacher, truth, and guidance. You have this receiving card. It says gratitude, acceptance, and recognition. Like I said this on the Page of Cups. Didn't I say the word accept? I'm pretty sure that is the word I was saying on the Page of Cups. So there is something about that Page of Cups that's saying to me, it's like more like you have to accept something as part of your life or into your life. But I also don't necessarily feel like you are being offered something. It's almost like you are creating the environment to allow something into your life. Maybe that's a better way to put it. But that could be, what you need to work on, right? Or that could be a good thing for you to work on, is allowing something into your life in general. We're in the time of the mentor, so these mentor cards never really surprise me either. It's a great time to learn from other people, and it's a great time to see what works and what doesn't, plain and simple. You have the Page of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Two of Wands here. It's like, it's the energy of wanting to move forward, but not. All three of these cards together. The Page of Wands, I'm trying to come up with a good example for you here, but I don't have one. But it's like, I'll give you a good example, actually. It's like trying to run in a dream. It's like if you've ever had a dream where you're like trying to run, but you can't, like that type of feeling. That's how I feel for all three cards in this row. It's like you've been trying to run, but it's almost like you're in quicksand. And that's what I feel intuitively off of these three cards. And so a lot of you maybe have had something that you would like to work on or create. The Page of Wands, he wants to follow his enthusiasm. I'm talking about in this energy of what I'm feeling right now. Like if he were stuck, if we were to talk about that, it's like he would know what makes him feel enthusiastic. He's a card of enthusiasm and optimism and all those other good feelings, right? And the story of the card is that he only follows his optimism. But I feel this like quicksand feeling, just in general, where it's almost like you've felt held back, or you felt like you've been lacking something. It could be information. He has this tiny little feather on in his cap here. And if we look at the Fool card, for example, the Fool has a feather that's like this long, and it kind of represents his knowledge. It represents what he knows about the journey that he's going on. So the Fool kind of the feather is kind of like comfort for the Fool because he knows what he's about to do, right? This guy doesn't. He's just having to follow a feeling. He's having to follow his enthusiasm. That's like part of the challenge. With the Four of Pentacles, again, maybe you're holding on too tightly to your old story, which always comes up for you, probably because Uranus and Taurus is why you always get this message. And again, where Uranus is about to revisit Taurus in November, the middle of November. So a lot of you could be looking at those old stories or those old belief systems that have made your life like quicksand, like moving through quicksand, or trying to get ahead. And I'm wondering if that's where this reading is leading, is that you are finally getting ahead, or you're finally making progress, which would be great. We do see some really good cards for that. Knight of Swords and the good stuff, Chariot, Knight of Wands. Your last row is very good for progress and finally moving forward. So you could be escaping this. I feel a lot of you, and again, Four of Pentacles isn't really a bad card. It can represent financial security. Again, with Uranus and Taurus, anything you can do to create more financial security will just make you feel more secure and will probably make you feel like taking more risks, which is probably what's needed here. You have the Two of Wands. Yeah, I really feel like you're meant to be a leader here, Taurus. It's like you're meant to take the lead in your life, or you're meant to do something. I remember saying something to you like months ago where I was saying, I remember this. I was saying that it's almost like Taurus, let's say you're married and your spouse is like the breadwinner. It's like there's going to be a flip where it's like you become the breadwinner, or you become the one that is kind of taking the lead, right? And so, that's just one example. There are many, many more examples of this like flip that could be happening for you, Taurus. And yeah, I think it's a great energy. Two of Wands is the card of taking the lead. He's taking the lead to get out into the world, and that is definitely what I would do with this card. With the Page of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is a turnaround. Now, one thing I will say that I've also talked to you about, Taurus, is a lot of your energy is past energy. Not like in a bad way, but a lot of the things I think Taurus is working on is old stories, from family, things like that, or how you were raised, for example. And you could be working through certain blockages or, stories that you've told yourself since you were a child that have blocked you. And I feel a lot of you could be just dealing with that energy in general with the Six of Cups. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Star. The Star can represent hope, faith, and renewal. It can represent a new goal. The Star is about having a North Star, having that guiding light that you follow through on. And that's what I would do if I were you. I feel that, the two aces, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, plus this are encouraging you to go towards what you think your destiny is, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Again, the thing about eclipses is they are destiny. They bring up thoughts of, destiny, or what we think our destiny is. Whatever that means for you. And so I think it would be a great time for you to like work towards goals, wishes, dreams, things that will change your life. With the Two of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles, and you have both here. So by the way, if you're looking for love, this looks amazing. The Queen of Pentacles is also very good for money. She is the card of resourcefulness and, doing something resourceful. One thing I am getting here is like I wouldn't don't overstretch yourself, and also it's kind of like giving me an energy of like not celebrating too soon. If you've ever seen, there are plenty of like viral videos of like people who, before they win a race, they start celebrating and then someone blows past them and wins, right? I get that energy here, especially if you're working on a business or something. I'm getting this energy of follow through, meaning that, before you celebrate, make sure that you have momentum. And we have two cards of momentum right here. So, this is about making sure that you continue to do the things that are creating wins in your life. And if you continue to do that, then you will increase your resources, which the Queen of Pentacles is all about, doing things to increase your resources. Next, we are going to look at the challenges that you have to overcome at this time. You have, over the next 3 months, you have this time for healing card. Yes, I mean, we've talked about it. And we have this card that says your commitment is being tested. So, yeah, definitely a good time, especially after this eclipse in Virgo. Great for healing. Pretty much everyone has had a card of healing. I feel like the commitment being tested thing is like, how much do you want something? If you're working towards a business or a goal in your life, how committed are you to that? And the Seven of Pentacles is kind of like your answer, right? Seven of Pentacles, he's looking at the results he's getting based off of what he's working on. And so I don't think this is saying like you have to stay committed to something you're working on. I think it's more saying, do you want to be committed to something that you're doing? It's like, I talk to a lot of people every single day, obviously, and, with this channel, and so many, I can't tell you how many times, even in the past when I did readings, people would say to me that they're working on a business, but they basically, without saying it, they would say they hate it. And I'm like, why are you doing this then? Why are you committing to something you don't want to be doing, right? There are a million ways to do everything. And, I think this is saying, if you're not enjoying something, then maybe it's time to commit to, a different direction or something new. You have the King of Wands. Yeah, being bold, being assertive. This is about being more sure of yourself is what I'm getting here intuitively. I think that's something definitely that you could work on. I don't think this needs to be overcome, but it's, I think we all have a little bit of that imposter syndrome where we don't feel good enough, but I feel the King of Wands is encouraging you to be more bold and assertive in the sense that you claim things. It's like instead of being, shy or holding back, if you know something, I feel like you need to say it, in work or business. And, maybe you need to stick up for your ideas. It's like sometimes we can share an idea and people will be like, oh, I don't know about that and whatever. And it makes us feel a certain way. But I feel like this is you needing to have that confidence, even if you're wrong. What do they call that? They call that, I don't know, irrational self-confidence, right? That is what you need to work on with the King of Wands. Even if you're wrong, sometimes that's okay, because I think you're going to be right more than you are wrong, and I feel this is something you should work on. You show up here, so again, I think another, it's basically the same challenge. Believing in yourself or self-belief is maybe the only challenge you have to work on. Your reading is very simple, Taurus. I would say that everybody else's reading has been more complicated, like more going on, more challenges. I feel that, your reading is about conquering you, conquering yourself so that you can be successful or so that you can, get what you want. The other thing is, as a fixed sign, I feel you should be working on being more flexible. The King of Pentacles, he is kind of stuck doing things one way, and he does what works, which is good, but at the same time, he doesn't necessarily evolve with the times. So I would make sure you're evolving, learning new skills, learning new things. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is like a perfect match for you here, Taurus. So maybe accepting love if you want it. Obviously you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but if you want a connection, I feel accepting love into your life would be a good idea. I also feel you could be attracting someone who's a little different. Again, since I did the only love readings I've ever done on this channel were like in 2022 or 2023. Everybody had the Two of Cups. And I was saying love is changing. Astrologically, love has changed. And we could be attracting a different type. So it's like maybe we're not sure, or maybe we're not sure if we should go on a date with a person. But I feel like this is saying that you should, especially if you want love. It could be a different type of person or something that you're not used to, but that could be exactly what you need if you want love. The other challenge that comes up with the Two of Cups, by the way, is the Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. So it can encourage you, it does encourage you to communicate more with your higher self, right? With the King of Wands, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Having the confidence to work on something as well. If you have an idea, it could be a genius idea, but if you never do it, then it's nothing, right? So the Eight of Pentacles, he has the confidence to focus on one thing and see it through to the end. We all need to have this confidence, especially next year. Saturn and Neptune both move back into Aries next year. And again, especially with Saturn, it's kind of like the lesson we learn with Saturn is that we have to finish things. We have to see things through to the end. And so if you're working on a project, it's like this is having the confidence to work on it even when it's not working right away, And so that's going to be important. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Strength card. Yes, your own inner strength, right? She's taming her inner voice. This lion represents kind of like the demon on her shoulder, her inner demons, or that voice in the back of her head that tells her she can't do this, she can't do that. Like I said, very simple reading. I feel just talking about, mostly the challenge row is like you. With the Two of Cups, you have the Knight of Pentacles. This is like speed in relationship, right? Sometimes we get into relationships very quickly. Sometimes they happen more slowly. The Knight of Pentacles would represent something that's more slow. But that could be a good thing. It's like maybe you're used to people who, rush right into things, but this could be something that's encouraging you to have more patience, or maybe it just has a slower feel to it. And, again, I'm speaking to those of you that want love. Next, we're going to look at the good stuff. You have this Roots of Abundance card and this Oracle's Gift card. Yeah, it's like something is going to be abundant. Eight of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, all the Pentacle cards that you have here. And I feel this is about trusting yourself. The very simple reading. The reading itself is just saying you need to trust yourself more. And I would say probably for the next 6 months, like until March of next year. I would say longer. I mean, really forever. But we're talking about what you're working on here, right? So I would really make this a focus over the next 6 months. Knowing this is like having the inner knowingness that your ideas are abundant. The things that you're creating are going to lead to abundance as well. Next, you have the Knight of Swords. I do get follow through here with the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is a card of being too hasty. He's also pointing backwards in the reading, so he can represent running away from something. But I do feel good. You're building momentum with this card, but I also feel follow through is probably your secret sauce in this reading here, Taurus. Like going all the way through something, meaning that you kind of go past the finish line on something that you're working on. And I think if you do that, that's the secret here, because that will lead to the most success. You have the Chariot. Definitely could be a big victory coming in for you here, Taurus. I think that you're moving in completely new directions. The Chariot, he's leaving behind everything he's known. You also have the Two of Wands. Like I said, pretty simple reading. It just would represent stepping out of a comfort zone or charging towards new levels of success or something new that could make you successful. And that's exactly what I would do with the Chariot. You have the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is charging forward towards success. So he is embracing mystery. He has these 3 pyramids here that represent mystery. He doesn't, he's a card of being spontaneous and being willing to be spontaneous. So, again, I think there is like a certain level of discomfort in this reading, not like in a bad way. It's more like, sometimes it's like you can do something like go to like some sort of gathering, right? Where it's like maybe normally you just want to stay home. But, socializing could be the thing that gives you ideas that you need to be successful. So I would push you to, put yourself in, uncomfortable situations. But we're not talking about, anything that would make you, that's like crossing a boundary or something. We're talking about uncomfortable in the sense that it would require growth. And I feel that will be very good with the Knight of Wands. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Sun. Best card in the deck. Love it. So definitely a lot of happiness and joy if you cross that finish line and keep going. And, it's almost like this reading is encouraging you to have a practice here, Taurus. It's like, if you want to be a YouTuber, you have to publish YouTube videos, right? And so it's like, even like, don't put a number on it. Don't say, I'll be happy when I have 100,000 subscribers, right? I think this is saying, whatever you're working on, there needs to be no finish line. You just need to keep doing it. With the Chariot, you have the Knight of Swords. It's like a childhood dream, is what I feel. We have the Six of Cups, Knight of Swords with the Chariot, the Sun, the Star, and the good stuff. Some of you really could be accomplishing a childhood dream here if you cross that finish line and keep going. And so I love that for you, Taurus. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, this is about getting messy. Again, I think we all probably need to do this because South Node in Virgo, Eclipse in Virgo. The South Node, especially in Virgo, is, we could be looking for perfectionism when that doesn't even exist. So, the challenge always with South Node in Virgo is to be messy, is to do things without needing to know the answers, willing to be wrong as well, right? And so I think that is the pretty simple reading for you here, Taurus. We're going to look at anything else that needs to come out here. I'm using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, by the way. You have this isolation card. Yes, this reading is that's definitely something I missed with this reading, is that, there is this like theme of needing to get out and not be in isolation. I literally just said it about, kind of going to social gatherings, for example, even if you don't want to, and things like that. It's like pushing yourself outside those types of comfort zones. I feel like you could be getting answers, like, and not only that, you're going to have a great time. Next, you have this influence card. If you are getting into a new connection, I would be careful of external influences for sure. Again, Two of Cups. Two of Cups can be someone completely different than what you normally go for. So people could have something to say about it. And, this card warns you against listening to other people's opinions, basically. You have this inheritance card. You always get these inheritance cards with me, I think. You get the Ten of Pentacles with me a lot. I think you've had this card with me before. I feel that you could be inheriting a lot of good ideas. It's your opposite sign, by the way, Scorpio. This is Saturn and Scorpio. And you could be inheriting a lot of ideas from the universe, or, just downloading these ideas. And I would be paying attention. You have this discrimination card. This card is the Seven of Pentacles, basically. It's analysis. I feel that you are getting better at telling, like, what's good for you, what's bad for you. And you've gotten really good at paying attention to that. And finally, you have this flattery card. Yeah, much better connection. I'm wondering if, these two people are facing away from each other. These two people are facing towards each other. I do get a little resistance if you're meeting a person, right now, like over the next 3 months, maybe even 6 months. But, again, I think this could be a very good person for you. These two people really see eye to eye. So, could be maybe externally you look opposite, but maybe internally you are very much aligned. So pretty interesting, very simple. Love it. Definitely could be some miracles as well. We didn't really talk about that, but the miracles are endless. But I'd say these are miracles you're creating by going past the finish line, plain and simple. So love it. Thank you for being here, Taurus, and definitely enjoy your next 6 months.